something from you and I. It wouldn't just be us learning from them.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You can't, you can't know it all, and you can't have all the perspectives on all things all the time. So it's important, as you say, to learn to listen and learn to, open your mind and open your eyes and ears to all of this stuff.
Exactly.
I totally agree. I just saw, I visited your site, and I just saw that you've put up a totally new website.
Yes, it's
Tell us about it.
www.occultofpersonality.com.
Yeah.
So I've had some help from a guy that runs a group called Media 2017 because he was generous enough to help me out with this because I started getting into doing the audio interviews, and I like Vox, the platform for this website. I use because it's easy to post things and graphics and whatnot, but in terms of podcasts, it's very limited. So I needed another platform, and this is kind of where it starts. Right now I've got the 3 different podcasts that I've done that are up on the site, and people can listen to them on the site or download them or subscribe in iTunes or whatever they want now.
Yeah.
So.
Excellent. Yeah, the site looks great, by the way. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Occultofpersonality.com, and as you say, I have a few podcasts up there. You had, Jake has been on this show, and also Kent from Kentroversy also been on this show. So, I mean, are we going to continue with the podcasts? Things developing?
Yeah, I plan to. I can't really thank all the people who've been generous enough with their time and energy to interview with me and have these discussions. I particularly want to mention a guy named Ben Fairhall who writes a blog called Battling the Behemoth.
Yeah.
And he's got a very, very great site, and I'm hoping to get him on for an interview at some point soon.
Excellent. So, I mean, if we were to kind of, I guess, round up a little bit here for today, how do you view? It's always interesting, to get the feel from people. I mean, it's always difficult to know actually what's going on and so forth. But let's say in regards to this year, and I mean, we don't particularly have to talk about 2012 and where all that is going. But let's kind of focus on this year that we're into now, and maybe the next and so forth. I mean, what's your take on all this madness that is going on around us? How do you think that things will develop?
Yeah, it's quite a challenge, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's difficult to deal with. I think everybody's going to probably have to find their own way to handle it. For me, I think being able to become more aware of who I am and myself, what I believe in, what I think, and disconnect from the mass media, get rid of the TV, stop reading the newspaper, and, forget about those sources. And, within a few weeks, your brain starts to work again. I think that is probably one of the most important things. And that's not to say people shouldn't be informed.
Yeah.
Your site is a great place to go to get information about what's happening in the world. And there's plenty of sites out there as well. But
yes,
I think it starts with getting to know who you are without all of those influences from outside of you.
Yeah. Do you? Because I remember when you did the interview with me and Frederick, you asked if we are into any, I guess, more spiritual practice in that sense, meditation or anything like that. I mean, is this something that you do? If I am to turn around the question towards you.
Yeah, sure. It is something I do, and it's something I should do more of. And I want to be clear about it because I think people have a lot of different ideas about what when I say meditation.
Mm.
When I say meditation, I'm talking about basically like what you would call insight meditation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great book by a guy named Joseph Goldstein called Insight Meditation, The Practice of Freedom. It's not about, contacting any other entity or, becoming influenced by anything. It's really quieting your mind and opening up to the amazing things that can happen when you do that.
Mm.
And I found for myself, I'm able to learn and discover things about myself and my environment that, seem so obvious now, but before, I had no clue.
I mean, I get the sense, of when I'm out walking around, among people, and it always it's difficult to generalize and as you said before, draw, paint everybody with the same brush in that sense. But I get a feeling that people aren't even in contact with themselves in many cases. It's something in their eyes or whatever. I don't know. It's very difficult. It's you don't get that kind of contact with people. And then once in a while, people turn up that you actually feel that you get that contact with. I mean, do you get the same sense, from your perspective that this is about, as you say, being able to get in contact with yourself. This is about focusing and learning to quiet the mind to actually, being able to get more in contact with yourself, and hence when you do that, you're actually more in contact with the environment and the other people surrounding you.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And I think that's true. What you talk about, people, have that sort of blank stare.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot. I don't know if it's, people trying to deal with the environment that's become so challenging as of late, just in general, or it's, all of these influences in mass media and culture that are so, just a constant bombardment on people's consciousness.
Yeah.
I think it may be a combination.
Sure.
But yeah, it's troubling, and I think that, I agree, until I was able to, quiet my mind, get in touch with myself more, and, it was a lot easier to deal with all of those things that used to, cause me to, get crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is an important aspect of it, to be able to, I guess, kind of return to a source that is quiet and isn't full of fear and has a kind of a certainty in itself, beyond, that you don't have to have any external things that you need to go to get your, to be comforted or whatever. So I think that these two kind of connects very much. I mean, the importance, I think, here is to stress that there's a connection between the spiritual aspects of all of this information and, of course, the materialistic. So we have to be aware of a lot of things that are going on, but at the same time we don't, we must make sure that we aren't, dominated by them in that sense. So it's a fine balance. Do you agree on that?
Yeah, it's definitely a balance, and it's a constant, tinkering with that balance. I think to maintain it, because there's constant things that are happening that affect us all the time, that try to sort of disrupt that balance.
Yeah.
Once we've achieved it, and that's a constant thing. I think is once you recognize it, to maintain it, or at least try to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, Greg, again, I mean, this has been an excellent discussion, and congratulations on getting the new site up. Again, it looks great. I'm going to link that up right away, and again, do continue your work and your research, and I hope we can do this again sometime, dive into there's a lot of topics out there and ideas to throw around, so to speak. So this has been great. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Greg.
Oh, thank you, Henrik. It's been my pleasure, and it's great to talk with you and Frederick. And I continue to read your site as I do every day, and I appreciate all the work that you both do, and I think we all appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, again, before we finish off here, are you gonna keep posting on the Vox.com site, or are you gonna go over to occultofpersonality.com altogether?
Well, for right now, I'm gonna keep both up.
Okay.
And running, and we'll see what happens.
Sure. Mention both of those sites again for us, so people will be able to find it.
Yeah, sure. It's the main blog site is Rochester, ROCHESTER 92.vox.com, and right now the podcast site that's up is www.occultofpersonality.com.
Excellent. So again, Greg, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll speak more soon.
Excellent. Thanks again, Henry.
Thank you so much for tuning into the program. Please remember that we have a free radio archive and also a subscriber-based archive for all you guys out there who want even more. And at the same time, you'll help and support this radio program and the redicecreations.com website. This is what keeps us going. Thanks to producer Fredrik Palmgren behind the controls. We will be back on Thursday with Philip Coppens, so heads up on that. We will speak soon. This is Henrik Palmgren. Take care.
Hear you say life's taking you nowhere. Angel, come up, baby. Look at that sky, life's begun. Nights are warm and the days are young. Come up, baby. There's my baby lost, that's all. Once I'm begging you, save a little soul. Go, come up, baby. Last night they loved you, opening doors and pulling some strings.